Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. China has a civilization history of over 5,000 years, during which 19 feudal dynasties emerged, each with its own rise and fall. The Qing dynasty was the last feudal dynasty in China. Initially called the Later Jin, it lasted for 296 years from the time of Nurhasai's founding, with 12 emperors. After Emperor Huang Taiji changed the state name to Qing, the dynasty lasted 276 years. And if we count from the Qing dynasty's establishment of national rule after entering the Central Plains, it has been 268 years. Because the Qing dynasty is closest to our time, many film and television works use it as a backdrop to showcase the historical scene of that era. However, in every dynasty, power struggles both inside and outside the court, as well as infighting among officials, were frequent. Some influential officials held such immense power that they could even affect the succession to the throne. Yet, it remains puzzling, despite some officials holding great power, even committing acts such as issuing fake imperial edicts, verbal orders, and even altering imperial decrees. Why did no one dare to forge an imperial edict to further their own interests? This is because, in feudal society, the emperor issued commands through imperial decrees, which were symbols of power. The character, Feng, on the imperial edict, in particular, concealed many lesser-known secrets. According to historians, no matter what the content of the edict stated, the first sentence of every imperial decree would always begin with, "By the will of heaven, the emperor commands." The character, Feng, has an anti-forgery function and was made through a highly complex process. It was not simply written with a brush, but instead embroidered by hand, stitch by stitch, to prevent forgery. Additionally, the position of the character was crucial. It had to appear on the rightmost cloud pattern, and its placement had to be absolutely precise. Many may not be aware of this detail, but incorrect placement would mean that the edict was likely a forgery and would not be recognized. This is why forging an imperial edict was extremely difficult. The risk of failure far outweighed the risks of open rebellion. As soon as the character and cloud arrangement on the edict were wrong, its authenticity could be immediately determined, and the forger would face severe consequences. Moreover, the artisans who crafted the imperial edicts were not ordinary people. They were highly skilled craftsmen selected and trained with great care. And the process of making an edict was extremely rigorous, leaving almost no room for error. Cultivating these artisans required a great deal of time and effort, and ordinary people had no access to their secret techniques. Even if someone elsewhere had exceptional skills, it would be difficult for them to match these imperial edict artisans. More importantly, while they might be highly skilled in crafting, it would be nearly impossible to understand the unique anti-forgery details embedded in the edict. Therefore, even if a forger could replicate the craftsmanship in other aspects, they would easily expose flaws. Historical records suggest that the crafting process of the imperial edict was a highly confidential procedure, and outsiders could not learn it. As a result, once compared to an authentic edict, a forged one could be immediately identified. If the forger failed to achieve a perfect imitation, they would give up and seek simpler, more effective ways to achieve their goals. The materials used for the imperial edict were also of the highest quality, typically made from the finest silk and brocade, featuring patterns of auspicious clouds and cranes, which were luxurious and ornate. Both ends of the edict featured soaring silver dragons as a security mark. In other words, even just the raw materials were incredibly rare, and the crafting process was kept secret. Forging such an edict was exceptionally difficult. As for the imperial edicts seen in modern historical dramas, which are often depicted in bright yellow, the truth is that during the Ming and Qing dynasties, imperial edicts were not only yellow but could be made with various colors, including combinations of 3, 5, or even 7 different colors. The choice of colors for the edict depended on the rank of the official being granted the title. Typically, higher-ranking officials would receive edicts with more colors. Furthermore, the materials used for the scroll handle of the edict also differed depending on the official's rank. This distinction was particularly evident during the Ming and Qing periods. For example, first-rank officials used scrolls made from jade, while second-rank officials received scrolls made from black rhinoceros horn. It is worth mentioning that when filming historical drama series, the Imperial Edict is often depicted as a small, delicate piece of paper. However, the real Imperial Edicts were much larger. Typically, the width of the edict was around 33 centimeters, and its length did not have a fixed standard across dynasties. The length could range from 2 meters to as long as 5 meters. This means it would be impossible for a eunuch to hold and read an edict by himself. In most cases, a group of people would help unfold the edict, and then a designated official would read it aloud. On May 23, 2018, during an archaeological survey in Nangong City, Hebei Province, the Cultural Heritage Department discovered an imperial edict from the Ming Chenghua era at the home of a Bai family in Zhejiang town. Despite being over 500 years old, the edict was well preserved. The edict was issued on the 9th of the 12th month in the 11th year of the Chenghua reign, conferring a title upon Bai Gui, the Minister of War and Duke of the Crown Prince. It praised Bai Gui's achievements during his lifetime and conferred him the title of Honorary Lord and Grand Preceptor, posthumously naming him Gongmin, respectful and prudent. The edict was made of 7-colored auspicious cloud-patterned silk brocade, measuring 2.5 meters in length and 0.29 meters in width. The text was written in regular script, with 25 lines and 145 Chinese characters, written from right to left. At the end, the seal, Zhi Gao Zhi Bao, seal of the Imperial Edict, was stamped in a traditional style. From this actual Imperial Edict, some historians have concluded that the contents of Imperial Edicts were generally not written by the Emperor himself but by ministers specially appointed by the Emperor to draft them. However, regardless of who wrote it, the content of the edict had to be of outstanding literary quality. If the edict did not meet such standards, even if one somehow managed to obtain a blank edict, it would be useless. Additionally, the font used in the edict also had strict requirements. During the Ming dynasty, the font had to be a dignified small regular script. But during the Qing dynasty, in addition to Chinese characters, the edict had to be written in Manchu as well. This made Qing edicts even more difficult to forge. Different imperial seals were used depending on the type of edict and its recipient. If an edict lacked the emperor's seal, even if it was written by the emperor himself, it would not have any legal authority. Similarly, if the wrong seal was used, the edict would also be invalid. In other words, if the wrong seal was used during the forging process, the edict would not be effective. Furthermore, during ancient China, many dynasties required not just the emperor's seal but also the seals of various departments, making the process of issuing an edict very complex. If any department's seal was missing, the edict would be considered invalid. Some historians have commented that, while imperial edicts may seem simple, the entire process was actually quite complex and meticulous. The artisans who crafted these edicts were not ordinary people. Their skills were honed over years of training and strict supervision. As a result, outsiders could not easily access these skilled craftsmen. Even highly skilled individuals would find it difficult to replicate the intricate details of the edict. The anti-forgery measures built into the edicts could only be understood by specially trained artisans, and any attempt to forge them would likely reveal flaws. The wisdom of ancient people should not be underestimated. The emperor's focus on the anti-forgery features of imperial edicts was not only to maintain authority but also to ensure the legitimacy and authority of his decrees. Anyone caught attempting to forge an edict could be exiled at best, a sign of the emperor's mercy, or executed at worst, with the consequences often extending to their family and even their entire clan. Therefore, the risks of forging an edict were too great, and very few would dare challenge the emperor's authority. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.